Okay, so we're going to start with a joke. It's not a very good joke, I warn you. Anyway, what do you get when you cross a Yaris with a crossover? You get a Yaris Cross. Okay, I did warn you, it's not a very good joke, but it is what Toyota is calling its rival to the Ford Puma and Nissan Juke. We'll be checking out its chunky looks, impressive fuel economy, big boot, and whether or not it's got the equipment and build quality to stand out in a very crowded segment. So, Yaris good, SUV good. So Toyota must be onto a winner with the Yaris Cross then. Trouble is, every manufacturer from Audi to Volkswagen has a small SUV in its offering, so it's really hard to stand out. The Yaris Cross starts well by actually looking like an SUV, not something you can say about a lot of its rivals. And the big bluff nose, chunky wheel arches and plastic body cladding really do help look the part. It's even available with actual four-wheel drive on some models, but is it any good? Let's find out. But before we do, click here to subscribe to the CarGurus UK YouTube channel and click the bell icon so that you get notified when a new video goes live. First up, the boot, and the Yaris scores really well here for practicality because it's got 397 litres. It's a little bit less than a Peugeot 2008 and Ford Puma. However, it's a really usable shape, and thanks to this split level floor, it has virtually no load lip. If I just put this in place, you will be able to see that. Fold the rear seats down and there's no awkward hump to heave long objects over either. XL models and upward also get this rubberised removable boot decking, which is very useful for muddy boots or trips to the local tip. While boot space is impressive, the back less so, and problem number one is getting in and out because first of all the door doesn't open very wide and this is quite narrow, so if you've got limited mobility that can be really quite awkward. As for getting a baby seat in and out, wow, okay, let's see how we get on with this. Ooh. Okay, that was a bit of a faff, and you might not leave your seats in all the time, but it illustrates a very important point. There's not much space back here, the seat bases are narrow, and these large front seats just make it all feel quite gloomy. Up front, you'll fare better. There's more space. I'm just going to adjust it because I'm not fitting a car seat anymore. There's plenty of seat adjustment, and also it feels more like an SUV because you've got that lofty driving position as opposed to the low slung position that you get in a Skoda Kamiq or Ford Puma, for example. There's a fairly classy vibe in here too. The grey patterned fabric on the door cards on this design model is pretty funky, as are the gold trim highlights here and there. It doesn't take too long to find some cheaper feeling stuff though. The shiny trim at the bottom spoke of the steering wheel feels pretty flimsy, and the door handle feels like it might snap off if you pull it too hard. I'm quite sure it wouldn't. This is a Toyota after all, but it still feels like it could. While some squidgy plastics and some neat trim bits do lift the interior, it's not as smart inside as a Nissan Juke, nor as stylish as a Peugeot 2008. Even a Ford Puma feels more premium. There are some neat design touches though, however, such as this rubberised tray where you can put your phone, keys or purse. So that's B+, could do better for quality, but fortunately for the Yaris Cross, it scores rather higher when it comes to equipment. Even entry-level models get air conditioning, keyless entry, automatic emergency braking and adaptive cruise control, while higher spec models add heated front seats, a heated steering wheel and dual-zone climate control. Mid-spec XL and top-spec design cars like this one also get a larger 9-inch infotainment screen with built-in sat-nav. Talking of which, it isn't a great system. It does everything you want, and the blue hue on the mapping is smart looking, but it's just a bit slow to start up, laggy when running, and just not very intuitive to use. Fortunately, some of those issues are alleviated if you simply use Apple CarPlay or Android Auto instead, which is standard across the range. How much the Yaris Cross impresses on the road really depends on where you drive it. If you drive it around the city, it is simply brilliant. Front visibility is excellent, rear visibility is enhanced with a rear camera, which makes parking easy, and the steering is also really light, which again helps with parking and small manoeuvres. And the little 1.5 litre 3-cylinder engine gets a very welcome power boost from a hybrid system, which makes it really zippy at urban speeds. What really impresses though is the car's urban fuel economy, because it can run for short periods at low speeds on electric power alone. And because you can gain back a lot of battery power from regenerative braking, in stop-start traffic you could see 60 or 70 miles per gallon. So why are official fuel economy figures just 56.5 miles per gallon? It's probably to do with the car's performance out of town, because the hybrid assistance is more limited on country roads and dual carriageways. And we've seen figures of 45 miles per gallon on a mixture of rural roads and motorways. It's not bad, but it's not stellar either. The Yaris Cross is a bit of a noisy companion when you're out and about too. The 3-cylinder petrol engine is a bit gravelly when it's cold, and even when it's warmed up it still sounds a bit harsh under acceleration. That's partly because the CVT automatic gearbox sends the revs high and holds them there while you're accelerating hard. Although perhaps the phrase accelerating hard isn't quite right, because even the lowliest Ford Puma or Skoda Kamiq are faster. It takes 11.2 seconds to get to 60 and 11.8 seconds if you go for the optional 4-wheel drive. That is not very fast. However, it does feel fast enough to cope with motorway traffic. Over lumps and bumps, the Yaris Cross feels quite firm and fidgety. We'd not go so far as to say it was uncomfortable though, and the payoff is good body control with not much lean in the bends. But a Ford Puma is definitely a more comfortable ride. In the end, it's a bit of a mixed bag, the Yaris Cross. True, a Ford Puma is better to drive, rear seat space isn't great, and some rivals are more plush. That said, it does have distinctive looks, plenty of standard equipment, decent boot space, and a hybrid power plant that gives in-town fuel economy that simply can't be beaten. So if you're not fussed about the back seats and most of your driving is urban and suburban, it's a cracking little car. But what do you reckon? Tell us your views on the Yaris Cross in the comments below, and if you're considering buying a used one or indeed any car, head to cargurus.co.uk to find loads of great deals from top-rated dealers, including approved used examples.